All right, folks, here we are with episode 188 of Shackled City, and we're here for you. I hope everybody's having a good night, a good day, and, well, everything in between. Sorry if it started a little later than normal, especially stream. It's been a very administrative heavy few days. I've been trying my best to fix that, but, well, there's just a lot. There's a lot to handle. Wrote off to a fairly few important people today. Hopefully I get some responses back. Did some administrative work that took me a few hours to deliver some write-ups for, but we're here. I digress. The stream will continue and kick back off. We do not have Sniper tonight. Sniper is, I don't know. I think he's dealing with some health stuff. Ronald, you talked to him briefly, right? Yeah. You guys did? What did he say?
He said he
felt like he was gonna throw up.
You're like shit, dog.
He's getting old, bub.
Yep, he's reaching the prime of his only downhill.
The prime of
his
it's I give him 5 years before he moves to Florida.
And then another 2 years.
Dude, I'm telling you, by the next census, I'm gonna have to be getting him. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Well, I mean, when Sniper, don't be surprised if you knock on the door in the next 5 years. If you ever knock on the door in the next 5 years, and Red's there, judging you for clutching only Werther's originals, but wearing nothing because that's the way you live.
The only thing I judge for is the people who don't fill out the census. Just fill it out. It's so easy.
Yeah, not wrong. Not wrong. It's a little too easy. Friends don't wish Florida on friends. Oh, well, there was a misconception there, Phelan. Whoever said I was Sniper's friend?
I don't wish that on him. I'm just saying it's going to happen.
Pointing it out.
I kid, of course. It's good to see everybody here. I'm happy to see everyone. I'm glad that everybody showed up for this. Even though Sniper is out right now, he says that it looks like, according to chat, he's having some exit issues. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll go with that.
Booty hole issues.
Yes.
What he said.
What he said. Yeah. So, and he wasn't with us last week, but we are here now to catch everybody up on some details. Why don't we do a recap?
Yeah, we can do the recap, but everyone in chat, everyone in this fucking call, grab your chains, grab your locks, because you're gonna be shackled in for tonight's Shackled recap. Is that what you wanted to say?
I had to.
He did it.
I had to sit through
It's spreading.
Ronald's. I had to sit through Ronald's earlier today.
Yeah.
And now I had to sit through Steven's.
Yep.
And
You gotta choose.
tomorrow.
You know what's
It
fucked
was
up?
good.
What's fucked up is I looked away, and I thought Ronald was still doing it. I was like, and I look, and Ronald's not moving. I'm like, did this motherfucker's camera just die? And then I see Steven with the hands, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, everything just happened in my head. I'm fucking blown away right now.
Yep.
Oh, man. Well, I mean...
All right, now we need a chat vote to see who did it better to become the new announcer.
Chat can technically hold a poll.
Yeah, just type
look,
ones and twos in chat, and then we'll never calculate.
The point was never about who did it better. The whole point was to make it spread, and it did. My job here is done. I did it for the memes.
We don't need anything of Ronald spreading.
I did it for the memes.
No, not wrong.
But
Can you guys choreograph a collaboration next time?
No promise. No.
You guys need to go back and forth each word next time.
Get your chains and get your locks and just chiming in, man. I feel like it's a Queen song all over again.
Almost like Team Rocket.
Galileo
It reminds me of the Paradox
Galileo.
Brothers from Yu-Gi-Oh, where like they would always go back and forth with their sentences.
I feel like it's more like the Hodge twins that it is like
No.
brothers.
So I've got to know between Steven and Ronald which one's Jesse and which one's James.
Ronald's definitely a Jesse. Hot as fuck. Yeah, I know that. No.
They're twins. Wait a second.
Ronald just be out here. All he does is just bitch, and then blast away and then blame someone else. Like, oh man, why'd that happen? That's Ronald.
That's fair.
I'm over here with style, elegance,
Yeah,
willing.
but at the same time, you let a flower eat you on the regular. I've seen how the Victory Bell deep throats you. I'm not at all concerned with that.
And one time you magically grew titties. So I mean, what happened? Oh, that's right. I forgot
Wait. That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Right?
You can't say that.
It's not canon. Doesn't count.
It didn't happen.
Shut up.
It's pretty canon.
But who is Meowth? That's well. Oh, I don't know. Technically, it could be Cort. I guess in this place red, but I like the idea. I like the idea of it actually being Sniper, and instead of a coin on his head, it's just a big Werther's original that he wears on his head. Oh man, that would be.
I need him to come back and just be like, "Meow, that's right."
That would be perfect. I would.
Dare I ask who I'd be?
Oh man.
If anything, I think Cort would be the Wobbuffet. Honestly.
We're gonna give any Lickitung. There you go.
I'll take it.
I don't like it. I don't like.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Actually,
but I'm not gonna argue.
All right, Inny, do you want to be the herd of Tauros that Ashcott just never trained?
No. If anything, Inny would be the leader of Team Ruby.
I actually haven't seen that far ahead.
Yeah, it's the ones that tried to during the Kyogre and
You mean
Groudon?
Magma? Team
yeah,
Magma?
Groudon and Kyogre. The team there was Sapphire Blue and Ruby Red.
Mm-hmm.
It's Magma and was it Aqua? Was the other one,
Team
right?
Aqua,
Team Aqua and Magma. Yeah.
Ruby, fucking Inny would be Team Magma leader.
Crips and Bloods.
I could see it.
Honestly, if you were to follow through under any capacity whatsoever, and you just had someone to do up your hair right, and you had a suit, you could totally pull off Giovanni, and it disgusts me. You have the right eyes, like they're just like low enough that you could pull off this like interested yet like civilly vile vibe that Giovanni pulls off really well.
They're just soulless enough to pass.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What's a Pokemon? You stop it.
Speaking of soulless, we had a dwarf got captured in a gem last session.
We did, in fact. This is where this is the tangent. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. What happened last time?
So, what happened last time? You want to do this recap?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to.
Go ahead, homie.
Okay. So, we realized that Ulhime got captured in a gem. Walking through the gem, we realized he started to see a culmination of memories, Cerber's Spellmason's memories, only to realize that this gem, for the most part, was the crystallized manifestation of Cerber Spellmason's mind, his memories. And within that, 20 very horrible events that had been bound away within his mind, as we remembered further back that each event that had happened was in history that kind of just disappeared. It wasn't really resolved. Kind of put two and two together and realized that to get him out, we have to let the bad out with them. And we broke one of the chains, and one of those chains was the dusting.
Okay, all right. So I feel like you
The vanishing.
Vanishing.
I feel like you made some leaps here. So let's pretend as if people haven't watched the canonic 187 episodes at this point.
So
they don't know what the chains are, nor was it even really discussed. That was after show stuff.
True. Well, these arcane chains are currently binding the gem in place.
Okay.
Each chain represents a time in history.
Does it, or does it represent a people?
It represents people, but it's also the people in that time of history during
a significant event that happened to that race.
Yeah.
Why?
Horrible
What indicator do you believe has led you to that? Aside from me confirming it in the after show with just the few of you here, but what detail held that?
When Keegan, when he touched what we now know as the Bloodstone, broke the first chain, and the vanishing started taking place again.
There were some other details. There were some other. That was the big immediate identifier. That was the major event that occurred at the end of the session. So just as a reminder, in case you guys missed last episode, Keegan Gelf died. He died an unfortunate death as the disappearing, the dusting. What did you call it again?
The vanishing.
The vanishing.
The fading.
Yeah, the vanishing returned. What is the vanishing?
Slow disappearance of the race. No one really knows why. No one really had a solution for it. It just kind of stopped one day, and everyone was like, "Phew! Thank God that stopped. Otherwise, we'd be completely extinct."
And it cut down the population of Cauldron's gnomes to less than 1%.
Yeah, we just kind of pulled the chain to start that again.
How long ago was the vanishing?
Wasn't it 100 years ago?
Perhaps.
Is that incorrect?
It could be.
Does
It could have been that long.
Anyone wanna Snopes me on that?
I don't know if you guys have a
cannot.
timeline. I feel like you guys had a timeline, but I can't recall exactly where that timeline.
Neither.
It was a few hundred years ago.
That's why I'm thinking that.
All I recall is that it stopped a while back, and Keegan didn't want to go into Casmergen's way because it held the secrets to the vanishing.
It was 75 years ago. Technically,
Yeah,
in-game
okay.
at this point, it's been 85 years.
So I wasn't that far off. Okay, I'll take it.
Yes. Jizadrune was hit with the vanishing. The gnomes abandoned the stronghold and never returned.
Gotcha.
But not quite before everyone, most of the population disappeared. The vanishing was just that. It was. What do you think? What do you think this was? Was this a curse? Was it a spell gone awry? What do you think it is?
Most likely a curse.
Okay. All
It's
right.
a fucking hell of a curse.
Yeah, it's more along the lines of a curse than a spell. Because typically, I mean, I don't know any spells that specifically target a one kind of bloodline. But I mean, I don't know all the spells, so.
I mean, there's
There's
blood
also
magic, but I don't know if that's
It's not even a bloodline at that point.
But
it's
yeah,
an entire
blood-
race.
Blood magic would imply that it's an entire family. And
Yeah,
everyone
not-
related
true.
to said person,
Not
not
the
an
whole
entire
race.
race.
true.
This is-
true.
I mean, it depends on if this was a worldwide thing. Like, did this happen to other gnomes?
Call that the
Well-
Pitbull effect.
Or was it only the gnomes in Jizadrune?
The what? It's the Pitbull effect, Mr. Worldwide.
You're
It's everywhere.
You're
I already
fired.
got it.
God damn
But
it.
it's misted worldwide now.
Yes.
That would be the thing, because if it was isolated specifically to Jizadrune, it would mean that it's something down there. It would mean that there was something down there that kickstarted it and slowly started making those guys disappear. But if it's something that was worldwide, such as Mr. Pitbull, this could be anything.
Who's to say that Keegan didn't have the effects of the vanishing already occurring and it was stopped?
He might have been next in line.
Could have
He
been.
still had his finger.
Yes, but it did jumpstart pretty fast. They didn't really say whether or not the vanishing occurs quickly.
That is true.
True.
So
We'll
you
have to find out more.
Yep, you have no idea what the grander scope is of that, but it's something worth figuring out. So yes, there were some details about these chains. You discovered them. Remember, I may have or may not have blinded a character temporarily for the discovery of just that.
Yeah, it's not
3 hours.
3 hours. Why was he blinded?
Because he
looking at
tried
things
to
you
look
can't
at
look
it in the magical spectrum again.
Yes. And what did you uncover with Read Magic?
pain.
Lots of there's different words inscribed like stories
Yeah.
between each of the spell I guess spell stories is what you can call them. Well, chains. Each of the spell chains tells a story or I guess a brief description of what happened involving the bloodline that I guess is required to unlock each chain. I mean, that's speculation at best, but it's kind of what we've deduced in our
The
little
way
talk.
the way I interpreted it is there used to be a little trick you used to do in elementary school where you'd wrap a rubber band around a pencil and you'd write a word all the way down and then you'd have to wrap it back up again to read it. And I feel like it was just a whole bunch of rubber bands with all these spells or runics or stories written on them. And then they took it from a whole bunch of different languages and then wrapped it into a ball, and that's the premise of the magic that's wrapped around this ruby.
Okay. So do you think, I'm going to pose this question, do you think that the chains were a part of the inherent design when this was originally constructed? This
No.
ruby.
They're
For
probably
the
adding
gem
on.
now. It seems like it's added. It seems like it's something that was added on as like a. I don't want to call it a fail safe, but like someone definitely did not want whatever was in the gem to get out.
From
Or
what we
whoever-
learned, it seems like this was intended to be like a safe, and that safe was turned into a prison with the chains, making it so what was in the safe could not get out, and if you try to get what's in the safe out, you're gonna do a hell of a lot of fucking damage to the world, if not yourself alone.
Sure. Okay. All right. There was a story that was gleaned. Someone was able to pick it up. What was
Yeah.
that story?
It was just a partial bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of them. You're referring to the dragon one, right? The Wings of Night, I think, is what it was. Yeah. So there was that. We got a small bit of that where it's 3 generations of elves, or 3 generations elven old or something. I can't remember it completely. I actually have the note here somewhere. Let me find that real quick.
A terror and nightmare 3 elven generations old. And then the next line was Wings of Night, Shadow, Whip Tail, and Hole.
Thanks, Cindy.
Yeah, I had it open still.
Wow.
Got him.
Wow. It's like
Nice.
my players are starting to learn how to play. What is going on?
It's almost like
Don't
I
worry,
went through
give
the
us an hour.
entirety. I went
Give
through
us
the
an hour.
entirety of last session within the past 2 hours.
Yeah, just give us an hour and we'll be sure to let you down.
Yeah,
So then- In an effort to best explain up to this point, Keegan touched this gem.
He touched it with his bloody finger, specifically.
Correct, he did. He touched it with his bloodied finger.
And it accepted his blood because he is a gnome, and it wanted to slurp the gnome blood.
well, that we know of.
So far, that's the speculation that you have. It's a safe assumption as well. Like it's a
Yeah.
really good lead.
He had a bloody finger. It sucked up the blood. It was no longer bloody, and then he decided to go into the 8th year.
Not
Well,
that he decided. It just kind of happened that way.
He didn't really have a choice. Forcefully decided.
what
Yeah.
I'm more
He
stuck
definitely
on.
had a knot like this face on.
Yeah.
What I'm more stuck on is that like we saw that. Well, I think it was Cort that saw that the blood was taken away, but but what my kind of like thought process was did the wound heal when it took the blood? Because it took all of it, and then there was no bleeding after that. So like, was that wound healed and then he vanished, or was it like it just took all the blood that that he had, and then he started vanishing?
I'm pretty sure it healed him because he pulled off the bandage and he was fine. But then the finger.
He did. He pulled off the bandage and his finger was gone.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
Yeah, I would
I-
think it's the first one personally.
I have doubts that it pulled all of his blood because
He was fine.
I feel like, at least for the runic inscription, it would only require a certain modicum of blood. Otherwise, you'd have to drain someone whole in order to feed it. And that's 20 times over.
Okay.
I mean, that does sound like something Mr. Nabikins would do.
You're speculating that this was Navatoran to begin with.
This is assuming it's Nabikins. This might be something even bigger than Nabikins. This
Okay.
could be Nabikins.
All right. Well, let's investigate that and see exactly how much you guys uncover today.
Oh boy.
Now, Annie, I know that you went back and watched the previous episode, so you have a pretty good idea of what has happened. On top of that, this brief recap probably spells a few more things out for you. Nothing too insane, but we will start today's session right where we left off. The session ended with Keegan Gelf meeting an untimely fate. Our dear friend and long-existing NPC in this series, despite his snark, is now, well beloved, gone. He is no more. The scene opens with Starbrow, nestled betwixt the clothing. Any of the various bits that seem to make up Starbrow, or at least what made up Keegan, is still there. So clothes, any kind of ornamental pieces that he carried on himself, a watch here and there, some tools, a helmet. And Starbrow rests on the ground. Where he is, he has his hands up and coming together. Just calling out.
I want to reach down to him and offer my hand. Just put it on the ground next to him so we can step onto it. But I mean, none of us can speak to the rat.
Let's see. Annie, give me a handle animal.
Oh god, he's gonna crush the rat.
That's not terrible. Not terrible at all. By the by, just so everybody knows, we did start late, so I'll give you guys for a few more minutes if you wanted to activate some of your luck rerolls or various things like that. If you wanted to bring in any of your wild magic surges, things like that, that's something that we'll do for the next couple of minutes. Thank you so much, Unmade Gaming. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Lightning, what's up, buddy? Let's we'll jump right back into this, but remember, you guys can have influence over this by contributing in subs. Every time 5 or more subs are gifted, it puts a luck reroll on the table. They can get up to a max of 5. Every time 10 are met, I get 1 myself. So, if you want to see him succeed on things, consider supporting if you can. If not, hang out, have a good time. If Thelsa, that's not bad. Now you know that Starbrow is at least intelligent. He is, after all, the familiar of the late Keegan Gelb, and he has been traveling with him for some time. This small rat has a bit of a personality, but is now confused, befuddled, and seems to be almost kicking around the clothes, trying to find where his friend, his master, may have gone.
I don't think I have any way of speaking with him.
You can speak to him.
Yeah, I think he knows common, because that's what Keegan would always speak to him in. I'm gonna lean down and kind of press my hand to the ground, like the backs of my fingers, if he wanted to step on it and say, "I'm sorry, little guy, but I think Keegan is gone."
What is your experience with animals thus far as this character?
Zip. We had a sloth once, but that was my last character.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think he's still in the hole in the ground where we left him.
It died. It died a terrible, unfortunate, hungry death. Despite the fact that it was a dire sloth, it was still a sloth.
You took so much effort to make that your friend, too.
I did, yeah. And then we left a cave when we went in, and then
It
was attempting to crawl out of the city, grabbing onto the lip of the crenellation, and as it attempted to scale down, it mistook its arm for the edge of the crenellation. It grabbed onto its arm and let go, and then tumbled all the way down the volcano and died. It was a very slow and unfortunate Benny Hill-esque death, but...
If only there was someone there to stop it.
Yeah.
it was dead.
Yep.
Poor dire sloth. But that's okay. Obviously, it didn't matter to everyone at that point. But that's fine. Starbrow, confused, continues to look around, but his snout seems to train back up to your hand multiple times before, inevitably, he moves very slowly up to your hand and then dashes up your robes.
Yeah, I just let him do as he pleases, because I don't know the intellect of this rat, but still greater than Cort, so I feel like he can mourn.
If anything, Cort's just kind of shell-shocked, honestly.
Starbrow remains very still. Go ahead, Cort.
Cort just watched a man disappear. Cort's shell-shocked, kind of staring off at the clothing.
What does this mean for Cort now?
died. You just fucking dipped. You just pieced out, homie, and vanished. We have no idea what the fuck we're dealing with.
You're not wrong.
So, Cort doesn't do magic. Cort's just kind of, what?
I'm gonna stand up from where I was sitting, kind of like just waving my hand around. Hey, what was all that commotion? It's kind of eerily quiet all of a sudden. Guys, all right?
Keegan just disappeared. And he's gonna kind of look up at Thelsa.
Like teleported? Where to?
No, like every cell in his body turned to dust, kind of disappeared.
When you say that, there is a twitch from within inside, like your sleeve.
You're joking, right? He was just here.
Cort's just gonna kind of look at him.
I am gonna head to see the mayor. I'm gonna see if he knows anything about this. I don't know anything about the vanishing, but if anyone does, I feel like it would be him, one of the oldest members of this community.
Would Sasha know anything?
Maybe, but I don't know if she's always lived in Cauldron.
I'll probably come with you then. And he's just gonna kind of walk out of the room and go get his stuff.
What about you, Daniel? What do you do?
I can't see much, but it sounds serious. Maybe we can find a way to bring your friend back. I'm really sorry. I don't know if you guys were close or not, but something like that probably ain't easy to settle with.
You hear that constant thrumming?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cort's stomach, that was made by Keegan Galv. So as far as we know, now there's no one to repair it.
Does he have some sort of like maintenance period where he needs to get checked on?
I couldn't tell you.
Gotta do at least 3 spin cycles every month, otherwise I start.
Once a week, we got a guy come by and lube him up a bit. It's fine.
He's gotta come by and check the cogs, you know.
Actually,
otherwise
yes.
it just breaks.
Yes, he does have something that he has to regularly do. He has injections that he has to. It passes through the skin directly into parts of the leather, and meets a valve. So it is like an internal lubricant. I mean, he has machine parts in his body.
Since I can't fully assess the situation from being blind, I'm not entirely like, shocked. I'm not like entirely
You don't know the
like,
magnitude.
Yeah, I don't know the magnitude of it, so it's a little bit hard for me to kind of like react to this. So I'm just gonna kind of like, all right, well,
bro, sorry your fucking gnome disappeared. Damn, that sucks.
I'm gonna try to find my way. Thelsa, was it?
Yes, Thelsa.
Mind giving me a hand here? I'm just gonna kind of wave my hand around. I can't really see. If you're looking for help, I mean, probably better than sitting around here for the rest of the day.
I think the best thing you can do right now is help Cort for a minute. You guys take a breath. You can stop out by the mayor's office, but I think Cort needs to relax a little bit. Maybe chat about, recent events and I don't know, the weather. Something to get your mind off of the immediate stuff right now.
It's always sunny in Cauldron.
But I'm going to head to the mayor's office and see if he knows anything. I'm going to turn to look at Jakob and see that he's now in my state and just kind of like, I don't fully know what's going on with us becoming brainless, but I don't know what happened over the past 30 minutes, and I mean, I could see and hear and smell, but I felt like I wasn't even there.
It's that damn chromosome bandit. He keeps sneaking back through.
He just runs by and steals chromosomes, and then bam, you're a cardboard paper cut.
Sniper said he was going to have Jacob just watch over the jewel while everyone else did their own thing.
Checks out. He's just like, yeah, that's a jewel.
I'd like to imagine since he saw him as a cardboard cutout, just like picked him up, put him up against the wall so he's just eye level with the jewel, and like he said, he can see and he can hear and he can smell, but he can't do anything. He's just sitting there.
I'm gonna put him facing the doorway and rest the cardboard cutout against the jewel, so you can't see it when you walk in. You just see Sniper right there. But no, I'm not touching him.
You just put him in between.
I don't want to handle Mr. Krabs. I'm gonna reach into my sleeve and try and pet Starbrow as I walk towards the mayor's office. And I sat these two together, and hopefully they can help each other out with, the blindness and the regret.
Existence.
Nothing can go wrong. Nothing can go wrong. This is fine. All right, well. Perfect. I think we're going to start first by heading back in to the gem. The camera pulls back as everyone begins to go their separate ways. And here, this is where we see it focus again as the camera begins to turn and twist, sighting round chains. Before finally it breaks past the edge and rim of the ruby. And inside, it barrels quickly down into a top-down view of a man with no arms, waiting. Tell me, Ulhime, what are you doing right now?
Outside of, kind of just waiting for the, waiting to be released. If I could, I would see if I could follow the chains.
You can't. The chains don't actually go inside of the ruby.
Okay. Then it would be trying to probe as much of the memory of Cerebar Spellmason as possible.
Okay. Okay, sure. How would you do that?
I would call memory back, see if he responds to anything.
Okay. Then we'll go into a dialogue with it here. So, the floor is open. It's yours.
Yep. Kind of sitting there, seeing this visage kind of play back itself over and over again. Ulhime will stand back up once again and call, "Memory, are you still here?"
Memory hasn't gone far. Memory stay here.
You said before that there are things that you could not tell me about the memory of Cerebar Spellmason. But at the very least, what is it that you can tell me? What do you remember?
Memory know many things. What do you need to know? Is there something specific that you wish to know?
The small ruby mephit, this elemental of sorts, seems to clack across the ruby floor.
If Alakas had been damaged or changed, what would be a way to get it back to its former self?
There's a pause. It's sort of like waiting for a computer to read memory, some sort of accessed file. A very dated computer, admittedly, but it finally chimes in. You hear the cracking of the eyelids grind across the ruby eyes before it turns and carries itself again in that very different, composed form.
Holocaust.
Whoops, a little too low there.
Holocaust. That's better.
Does it sound normal for you guys? It sounds way off for me.
Sounds deeper than last session, like
yeah, I'm
hella
thinking
deeper.
so.
Yes. Better.
Yeah, better.
Alucast was a gift. It was prepared through the soul of an angel from on Celestia.
What makes you say you break? You break it?
The weapon has taken on a different form since its last bearer has held it. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to change it back or even give it another form. The one who holds it now is part demon, part angel.
Then it is to the one who possesses. It is no longer yours. Unless you can manipulate souls.
You can you not? You come here, you manipulate soul.
As far as I know, it's only my own so far.
It ponders again for a moment before it seems to continue its mild pacing. Not really sure. It seems to look to you again for a moment, and then it continues walking. Is there anything else you wanted to ask?
Yeah, what can you tell me of the one known as Severon Novelon, the Beholder?
There's a pause again, where you see its eyes seem to tick back and forth. You hear the grating again of the eyelids across the ruby eyes themselves.
No memory. No memory of this one. None.
Is there any information then you can give me on Nab the Tauren or Mephistopheles?
That gets a much different reaction. Much different reaction. In fact, when you say the name Nabzatorin, it sort of grows a little manic. Its small hands seem to kind of like come together and like grab at each other's knuckles. The lips seem to furl back multiple times. But you can only hear that grating of like glass on glass.
How you know Nab the Tauren?
He's currently in Cauldron. He's taken the body of one of the founders, as far as we know.
For why he come? Why is he here?
He has a son who says he wishes to see his son obtain his fullest potential.
It looks to you again, this time seeming to focus specifically on you.
What year is now in Cauldron?
I would tell him. I don't know the actual year off the top of my head, but I would state it hopefully.
Do you know any of the prominent dates that have happened? Anything historically that may have occurred that would give you a timeline?
Let's see what I have. Had a vision 750 years ago.
You actually did. Give me a memory test here. I know that at least Ulhime would know this. At least I feel like Ulhime would know this. That's not exceptional. And unfortunately, there are no luck rerolls tonight so far. So, you know that it's been several hundred years since the passing of Surabar Spellmason, or the reported death of Surabar Spellmason. But you don't know exactly how long. Your information may not be 100% correct. I lied. There's a luck reroll right there from Farm. Thank you very much, Farm. I appreciate that, bud. That's one luck reroll for everyone there. Significantly better. Significantly better. Yeah, you are aware that before Rock left, he gave you a brief shake on what was actually happening in your timeline. He said he acquired a book. Now, Rock took all of his things with him out to Marion. And in that timeline, Surabar Spellmason died 660 years ago. Not to the date, but to the year, 660 years ago. It was stated that he was entombed in an undisclosed location.
Yeah, but Ulhime doesn't know that location, though.
Correct. But you know that it was 660 years ago.
Yeah. I would tell him, then I would just go off of that. As far as I remember the events of Surabar's passing were 660 years ago. So add that to now, and that's pretty much where you're at.
You hear the grating again of the glass on glass of the eyes, seemingly like going into like random access memory, where it's sort of like watching someone dream when their eyes dart back and forth behind their eyelids. You can see this shift back and forth before it finally turns to you.
We have been gone this long?
That is correct. Up until recently, the body, or at least, the body of Surabar Spellmason had been occupied again.
A shift again, a pivot on the hip, and you're given another series of times. This time spoken from the actual memory of Surabar Spellmason. No longer is it captured in the text of a book. This time it is captured from the actual memory itself.
Not the Tauren.
A pause on that word.
The demon scourge, not the Tauren, laid waste across the Western lands. He was a domineering force and host of the Demon Scar. I, with the help of the visions portrayed by Nidrama, a weapon by the name of Alakast, was tasked with settling the region, driving out the demonic taint. 20 years passed. 30 years passed. I defeated Navthatorin in combat. I broke the back of the demon host in the demon scar on his lands. A vacuum of power invited new hosts.
Many come. Many. Strong and large.
I did not fight alone. I fought with my friends, my competitors, the starting families of Cauldron.
Memory trails off there, almost like in moments of reflection. Is there anything else that you say or do here, Ulhime?
Yes. There was a book mentioned. It started, and then he says it started with YE, and then it ended with GHU. Can you assess the combination of letters?
It nods. It nods before finally answering to you.
Yinogu.
Yinogu.
Yinogu, exile. Napthatoran. No longer welcome on Demon Plane.
That's Nab's name? Real name?
No. Napthatoran, real name. He's stuck. Here. Material plane.
Napthatoran was exiled to the material plane, sheerly in disgust. He was revered as a prize fighter, a general, in an army that was sent to domineer the realm.
And you think Nab is trying to free him or destroy him?
Memory does not know.
Did they work together during your first fight?
No one worked with Napthatoran.
He worked purely alone.
What can you tell me of Napthatoran's phylactery? Its location or what it looks like?
The eyes scan multiple times at this point, trying to reel back over and over and over again before finally you're granted a response.
Memory does not know. No say of phylactery. No, nothing. No,
What about the term soul ore?
Napthatoran was last seen alive, to suffer.
And the soul cages? Do you have any information on those?
The head shakes. You hear the gritty gratedness of the glass on glass again, the ruby churning against itself. And a no answer.
Very well.
You do get something odd, but it doesn't say anything. A hand comes up. Almost as in like a hey, wait a minute. But the hand slowly falls and the eyes never move.
What is it that you wish to say?
The town of Ledutan. The town of Ledutan.
Does
you
the
spell that for me?
town of Lidutan still stand?
Lidutan?
A nod, yes.
Would I have any information on that? That's Cort's home place, right?
You're not sure?
Describe this place to me. What is there any other names that it might go by?
Give me a knowledge local.
Oh, it's just gonna be.
I'm calling out all those skills tonight that you guys never use. That is not great, but that's also just a flat intelligence roll.
I don't have the actual skill itself. Like I don't have any points in it.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
yeah.
All right. You don't know anything about it. I mean, there's a lot of small surrounding towns of Cauldron. You know, it could be any number of towns. But you don't recognize or remember that. I mean, you might be able to ask. You could potentially ask more about it. Maybe get you more context details. But you don't recognize the name Lidutan?
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, I would say I would just respond, I'm not sure if the town still stands. Why is that relevant?
Friend. Before I die. Friend, given town. Kazamogan.
Lidu. Hence the name, Lidutan.
You recognize the name. At least the last part. You've heard it much more recently than the others.
Yeah, Kazamorgan Lidu, that's the name?
Kaza... It's close. It's K-O-Z...
K-O-Z...
O-M-A...
O-M-A...
G-O-N.
Kazamogan Lidu. Okay.
You know that as one of the founding families.
Yeah.
At least Lidu. You're not really sure about the first name, but you are for certain that you have heard that. Now,
I've heard of Koza Lidu, so that possibly could be the same person then, right?
do you say that?
Yeah. I would look to him. Do you mean Koza Lidu?
The eyes cant up again this time in hope.
Kozan. Shorten. Kozan name.
Yeah, that's the one I know, Kozan Lidu. But if I remember correctly, they were found dead, right? In the chamber where the first spark was at, or the second spark.
Are you asking me out of game, or what?
Yeah, I'm asking you out of game.
Koza Lidu was discovered by Klaus.
Yeah.
Klaus saw that there was the skin of an elderly woman that was draped, like hanging like on a coat rack in the abyss. And that is sort of where we uncovered that bit of detail. Now, Cort, if you want to interject your Cort, from what you are aware of, you remember Koza as being sort of like your godmother, but she was also, it was read and told to you as it being your grandmother. But nobody ever called her Lidu. Everybody called her Koza. I like how the eyes like ant up like, this is news to me.
Yeah.
This in the past.
This feels like the first time I'm hearing it. It's probably not, but it's hitting me like the first time I heard it.
I remember hearing about your grandma.
I remember like
that you weren't really related to, but
yeah,
that they lived in town, but I couldn't remember her name.
So the kicker You were told even more recently by Nav the Tauren. He went in to your town, not to set it on fire just because.
To go steal something that I couldn't remember the name of.
Correct.
And then
body.
no one could tell me. I even asked Christine, even Christy couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So, do you say that to memory? Do you, because I know that you know that. I know that that information was shared. Cort said in like a fit of fear and rage, like he was the one who destroyed my town.
Yeah. I would say that then. I believe Kozin Lidu or Cosmogon Lidu was killed recently. If I remember correctly, the body or part of the body was found in Occipitus.
But how did she live so long?
I do not know.
Ronald, hit me with a knowledge history. And a knowledge of local, please. Not great. Now give me a new knowledge local. Let's see if you have any. Damn, that is not exceptional. That's why I tried to tell you guys. It's cool if you get like a 40 and a 50 on your perception, but like if you don't have history of the region, eventually it will come to bite you back in the ass. So it's.
I mean, I have religion, but that's
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. It's important. I mean, you guys don't have to have a healer in the party. You could all be fighters, but take all 10 of your skill points and try to diversify at least a little bit, so it's you guys have an opportunity there. But yeah, you don't know anything about it. You're not really sure. Like you've got a little more detail on it, and you're like, yeah, I think I may have heard of that town, and I know that Cort said something, but I don't really 100% know. Not really sure. However, you guys don't have a very strong timeline. Your timeline is off, and you're not really sure why. Now, I can give you one more question here before we pan the camera back and we go back to the other lot. Is there anything else that you'd like to ask Memory?
Not at the moment. If anything, I'll probably wait.
Okay, all right. Then we will come back. Maybe you'll have more, but we will come back momentarily. All right, friend. The camera pulls back and shifts back into Pervade View, where we will trickle down to follow Thelsa with a newfound ally, roving. Thelsa. Starbrow stays very still, does not really move much. You know what it's like to lose someone that you have cared about, and you know how it kind of impacts you in a way that you have to process it. And you don't really know what the intellect is of Starbrow. Despite how long he's been around, you're not really sure if he has the mentality of a child or if he had on equal ground with Keegan. So, regardless of whatever the intellect is and the intelligence happens to behold, Starbrow remains stoically still and seems to just be processing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like rest my hand on him and pet him gently. Still treat him like an animal, not like a human kind of thing.
Okay.
Because despite knowing of its knowledge, I still think it's just a smart rat, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, my plan is to head over to the mayor's, or well, his office, I suppose.
Okay, sounds good. You wanted to head over to the mayor's home, the mayoral manor, if you will. And when you arrive, you have been seen here enough times, and you have lended enough assistance to the town that nobody really bats an eye. You are met with the butler, the one who tends to the master's private needs, the mayor's needs. And you're greeted. You're even said as Miss Thelsa. You've been granted welcome. And he asks if there is anything that he can acquire for you, if you would like to see the mayor.
Yes, and I'd like an audience with the mayor, please.
Very well, very well. This way, and he begins to lead you up the steps. Before finally finding you to that door. The same door that each of you have found your way past. It's an office. It's decorated in pride and time. Heads of beasts that have been felled in hunts. Eyes wide and vigilant. A fire that never seems to quite dip to cinders. But one thing remains the same. The mayor is consistently buried in a mountain of paperwork. There's light rapping at the door. The mayor glances up, he sees you, and he nods to the butler and waves you in. Peering back down with his index finger on face, and he seems to be tackling some line of work, a bit of dribble here or something that he needs to sign off so that they can get permission to do something else.
As soon as I approach, I'm gonna look around his desk for the shield that was made by Ronald's character, Ulhime.
You're able to find it with ease. It seems to be not hung up, and it's no longer sitting beside the desk as much as it is sitting right just to the left and behind the mayor.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was still intact, because in my eyes, if that crumbles, that means he's gone.
It's taken some bizarre dings here and there, but what you can tell is that it still remains whole. The face of Pariah stands before you, watching down in this stint of pain with its lips drawn back, bearing these metallic teeth, almost as if it wishes to yell, but it never does.
I'm gonna take a deep breath and just kind of sigh on my way out. I have a lot to unfold for you, and I am struggling to think of where to begin.
Well, the moment I saw you at my door, I knew that this would be the case.
It always seems to be that way. I don't typically make friendly visits.
Rarely do people tend to bring good news to the mayor. You understand how it works. It's a bit tiring at times, but I digress. It is my job to hear the
I'm
people.
sure you've gotten used to it by now.
I've had a lot of practice.
I've heard.
How can I help you, Thelsa?
The stone that we found was called a bloodstone. Was that what Keegan had said? I'm gonna stop for a second and say, do you know anything about bloodstone or bloodstones?
His eyes move from the desk into you. Purses his lips. I might.
Would you happen to know one that might contain the ability to release cataclysmic events?
He stops, shuffling in his seat. Brows furrow more intensely so. I may.
I believe it has released the vanishing. So, I'll explain how this has come. Ruby Convocation is coming. I went to acquire Ruby. Mars Wares had sold me one that was expensive. And we had no idea what it was at the time. Now I assume you know what it is.
I'm familiar with what a bloodstone is. And I'd heard ramblings, echoes of what might be something more powerful than a simple gem. But no, I had not heard hide nor hair concerning this. What leads you to believe that you've discovered something of this magnitude?
Well, I was showing Ulhime because I had peered into it and I saw some man who looked like he was being tortured, chained, and I didn't know what to make of it. I know of some types of magics that can store people within gems, but I figured that's all it was. And Ulhime went to take a closer look, and he channeled energy into it, and now he's gone. His arm crumbled to the floor, and I frankly don't know what occurred, but these somewhat corporeal chains lashed out from this grapefruit-sized ruby. I don't know if we know what a grapefruit is. Out of context.
Give me something in relative size.
I'm gonna put both my fists together.
Okay.
And say about this size. Ruby. And these now incorporeal chains lashed out and struck many people near. All of our party members, but nobody was seriously injured. And now it lays floating in the center of the office in the bathhouse. To get a closer look at it, we figured we'd talk to Keegan Galv.
Can I stop you for a moment?
Yes. Please.
How does everything manage to get worse? Every day, when involving your lot.
Lord, if I knew, I would have stopped whatever that was a long time ago.
Do the 4, 5, or 6 of you just wake up and ask yourselves, what can I touch and destroy today?
Not I, though sometimes it seems like it comes that way from our group, but I mean, how was I to know that when I had planned on getting a ruby for the Ruby Convocation, that it would have been a extremely magical item that was going to release plagues on the world? I went and I talked to Mars Wares and we came upon a deal for an item that was being held at the bank. I didn't figure they just held extremely magical items for no reason. I just figured it was valuable. But I'm gonna try and think back to the name that the shareholder was in, or like the ruby had belonged to. And was it Spellmason?
The box owner was the Stonehavens.
Was it the Stonehavens? Okay. Then the item it came in a dwarven encrypted magic box that belonged to the Stonehavens. But I really don't know much about it. The ruby can't be moved, and when Keegan Galv touched it, I guess he touched it with a bloodied finger, and it started turning him to ash. And he said but a few words, and of which were Bloodstone and the Vanishing.
And Keegan is one of the oldest members of the community. And now you're saying that he's gone.
I believe so. Unless whatever happened to Ulhime also happened to him, but only Ulhime's arm fell to dust. All of Keegan did. The gem remains in the bathhouse. And I tried peering at it, but it's woven in arcane languages I do not understand. I couldn't begin to tell you.
For the first time since I can remember, I am bereft of words. I do not know how you managed to acquire this. If it is a ruby of the size of which you have declared, how did you even come up with the funds for this?
We have quite a few funds at their disposal, but they said they were going to contact the owners of the item and get an actual price. And we paid compensation with the deed to the bathhouse.
So let me get this straight. You acquired a ruby roughly the size of a human head.
Yes.
You released this ruby, of which you believe that it is going to release plagues? Multiple plagues.
For all I know, it's only one, but when he touched it and he turned to ash, one of the chains that bound it to its place in space was removed. And frankly, I don't want to know how to remove the other ones. I don't like the idea. It could be good things that come of it, but I don't expect that to be the case.
And what made you believe that Keegan had disappeared and it was this vanishing?
He turned to dust before our eyes, and Keegan himself said, "The vanishing."
Do you have any proof of this? Forgive me for
his
assuming
dust remains
the
on the
worst,
floor.
But this might be an opportunity for you to catch me away from my home. I'm just assuming the worst.
If you would like to come with me, I can show you where he had lay.
No,
and
no,
I'm gonna reach into my sleeve and see if I can pick up Starbrow and pull him out.
Sure. Give me another handle animal. Very good. Yeah, you gently reach into the sleeve and remove Starbrow. And you see the mayor's head sort of tilts the other side. Oh, well, you are not lying. You are not lying. Thelsa, how old are you?
25. I know nothing of the vanishing apart from the words themselves.
The vanishing disappeared. It was gone. Nobody quite knows what had happened to it, and it seemed to predominantly only affect the gnomish population. In a different time, we had access to a hold by the name of Jizadrun. It was beneath Cauldron. This does not leave this location.
I've heard of this place.
It was a place much older than this town. From my understanding, it had been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Of a time of a different race. Still haven't quite identified them myself. I am determined to call them weavers. They freely wove magic. They put into place many things. Things that even I do not have control of. There is something about this place that was making the gnomes disappear, and they had, in their own words, defined it as the vanishing. The vanishing was, for all intent and purposes, I believe it was a curse that was stricken upon them. No one else was disappearing. And certainly it was no cruel joke that nobody else was disappearing, and only the gnomes. It couldn't just have been a size thing. Surely there is a requirement for survival that is greater than you must be this tall.
I wish it would have taken the goblins instead of the gnomes, if I'm honest. But I know that's more gruesome than it sounds.
At least you're honest. That's more than most can admit. They are indeed a bit of a problem, but that seems to have been taken care of as of recent.
I hope that's the end we see of it.
As far as this ruby, I'd like to know what you intend to do with it.
I had planned to use it in the Ruby Convocation. I'm not sure if you know what that is in full light.
I've heard before. This is an event for that god, that fickle god.
Yes, my deity.
Yes. Interesting choice. But I suppose it is a bit of a coming of age, if you will. Does that make sense? Is that what that is? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's a bit more in depth, the reason I follow her.
Understood. You don't have to give me reasons or wax poetic. I just understand that from what I've gathered, that this convocation is a signifier for domineering control over the church. Are you taking control of the church, then?
That is the plan, yes.
Interesting. Forgive me for not seeing you as capable. I didn't think you are as vested in divinity.
Until relatively recently, I hadn't been.
Well, questions for another time, I believe.
You're always welcome to come visit me.
Keep me informed still, please, on this bloodstone. I've had some studies, but nothing as in-depth as I'd quite like. And as much as I would love to tend to that now, well, this mountain of paperwork will not sign itself.
I don't know what to do with it. It's woven magic that I cannot understand, like languages over other languages. Draconic, Elven, Gnomish, Dwarven.
Then don't touch it.
Then it'll remain floating in the center of the office, in the bathhouse.
I was merely offering a way out. If you simply do not touch it, it is no longer your problem. Abandon the problem, leave it for another.
That also means that if Ulhime is in there, he cannot escape. And he's locked in there with whoever else was locked in there.
That only sounds like a small problem. Ulhime has had his values, yes. I would say that he has been useful at times. He's been keen on informing me as to his own problems, but I'm no therapist. I'm not here to hold him accountable for his own actions. I'm just here to see that the people continue to thrive. Ulhime may not be able to die currently, but he is not forever. And one day he will meet his end. And I'm hoping that I may be able to undo the work that he has laid forth. He seems to be incredibly proud of it, but it is only so much of a problem. Besides, the way that he's been speaking to me recently has been rather unbecoming. He seems to believe that we're allies.
I'm just going to shrug. I don't know his personal view on you. In my eyes, you're the mayor of this city, and I am to be the head mother of the Church of Weejoss. I understand how you feel about the god, but frankly, I'm just trying to bring religion back.
Yes. Cauldron has certainly been different without anyone to blame their problems upon. Right now, it's anyone who happens to be wearing a clean suit. It's their problem. So please do, you're doing me a great service. And I will pass word along to those in charge. to make sure that it is seen forth with ease.
One last thing before I take my leave. When we were in here prior to the Ike Iverson situation, where you said you didn't want to know anything about the church or the inner workings of the church, I mentioned a soul cage, and when we had returned, it was gone. I figure this is pertinent information if you know nothing about it.
I've still heard nothing regarding the soul cage, but I will pass the information along. I will practice due diligence to at least attempt to discover what this might be.
I don't know anything of it aside from it sounds like the metal is alive, but it was extremely cold to the touch and nothing was inside.
It wouldn't be unheard of, but it is not something I'm familiar with. Give me a sense motive. You got to reroll? Are you going to reroll it?
Yeah, I'm going to reroll it.
Okay. Damn, the rolls tonight are not happening. It's a little better. It's a little better. Let's go ahead. I'm going to kick out my roll. Just enough. He waits. Is that all?
I believe so. I'm still going to try and decipher anything I can about the ruby, but it's just because I want Ulhime back. Despite your desires, I'll do my best not to allow any blood to touch the bloodstone, but I want to figure out what this is and maybe who else was inside of it.
Good luck, Thelsa. I believe that you'll be needing it.
I do also believe this.
Okay. Do you exit the mayor's manor?
Yep, I'm taking my leave.
Okay. Then we pass it back to our everyday, average, normal adventuring crew. The other two. The newly founded Blinded Bumble.
So,
And the Maytag in necessary repair for future notice. Cort, you've been left. The two of you have been left to your... whatever it is that you're going to be doing. I don't even know what you're going to be doing here.
If Thelsa went off to the mayor on her own, Cort would probably hover around the bathhouse to make sure no one else goes and accidentally feeds the blood gem.
how long has Thelsa been gone, by the way?
Thelsa's probably been gone at this point for around 40 minutes.
Is my vision coming back at all yet, or still?
It's still going to be rocky unless you have the means of removing this. You can still seek out someone to potentially rectify the situation. It's just a remove blindness spell.
Gotcha.
You are muted, sir. There you go.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking. I'm gonna stand up and have my hand over my face still. Hey, Cort, quick question, buddy.
Yeah, what is it?
Is there anyone here that can help me with my vision? It's getting a little annoying with the white dots and everything in my eyes, you know?
Cort's gonna kind of sit there and think. I'm pretty sure I don't know anyone who'd be able to help him. Because, like, I would think either Jenya or Sasha, but, like, that would be an extreme for either of those, because, you know, Jenya's dealing with the modern plague, and we already owe Sasha our life. I can't really think of anyone, at least anyone who'd be good enough to help. The local town healer's been busy helping people who are really sick. And I don't really know any other people who are good with eyeballs. There was a doctor, but he's kind of out of the town.
How long ago was that?
It was when I first got here. He used to be part of this group, but he ran away.
Well, I mean, it's a start. I mean, we have Jakob. I know he's a little shocked right now, but I think we can leave him with the gem. You know, stay on point.
I don't know where that doctor went. He left town a long time ago.
We don't have to look for the doctor. We just gotta look for the people that he worked with. They might know something.
Cort's gonna kind of look around the bathhouse. One of those people's in the gem, and he's gonna look at Jakob. And then the other one's at the mayor, and pretty sure the others are dead.
Doesn't leave us a whole lot of room for investigation, does it?
That's kind of how a lot of things end here.
Can I do a perception check real quick, just to kind of see if anyone's like listening to us, or within the vicinity?
Yeah.
You want to see if anyone is listening
Not
to you?
see, but like try to sense, like, you know, do I hear
Wants
anyone?
to pick up the vibes on someone if he feels like he's being watched.
Okay, sure. This would just be listening, right? So
Yeah.
I'll give you that, but you're not gonna be able to see anything.
No, not see, just a listen.
Sure, hit me with it. Let's see what you got. Well, let's hear what you got. 19's not bad. It's safe to assume that there might be some series of bugs that could be listening and waiting for you guys to leave, especially since this place happens to be a location which attracts a vast amount of death.
Sounds about right. Cort, buddy, I honestly think that we need to look for anybody that can help us out. We might be able to catch up with Thelsa on the way, or, you know, somebody.
Cort's just gonna he's just kind of sitting there thinking.
Hey, who knows? We might be able to find someone that can give you an upgrade or something. Maybe add, you know, a silencer to that contraption that makes a lot of noise. Maybe you can be sneaky like me too.
Cort's just gonna kind of look down and put his hand on his robot stomach. I don't think that'll happen anytime soon.
Never know unless we try something. I mean, what are we gonna do sitting here? Would I be able to kind of like remember where the door is? Like if I were to just kind of like get up?
Sure, give me a memory test. It's just gonna be a wisdom. So just click on your wisdom.
The hole in the wall.
You've got a general guess about where it's at. It's not exceptionally hard, especially since, a clockwork Leviathan drove its way through it and they have yet to repair it. You could stand up and listen for sounds, wait for air movement, anything like that that would kind of signal where you're supposed to go.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Just kind of get up, try to like slowly move around, like use the chairs and stuff as like my guiding point through the bathhouse. Cort, let's take a stroll, shall we? Be my eyes for me, will you?
Cort will sluggishly get up and walk with him.
Okay, so Cort is being very sluggish about this, but I kind of want to know why. Is it just because Keegan is gone?
No, this is magic. This is fucking several football fields out of Cort's realm of comfort. And Cort just pretty much watched someone who had helped him, stay alive, and someone who the group trusted, basically disappear in front of his eyes.
Sure.
It's not just Keegan. It's just, life just kind of fucking sucks sometimes when you live in Cauldron.
Okay. All right. Sure.
You just kind of feel fucking useless.
Yeah, it is. Almost welcome to adulthood. It's pretty fucking bleak, my guy.
That's what Cort has to realize. But Cort's currently fucking waking up to the fact that life fucking sucks.
It can. It certainly can. So let's talk about that. Where are you guys gonna go? I'm curious.
So I'm gonna kind of try to retrace my steps as I was walking through the town with Cort the first time, but this time I'm gonna kind of keep an ear out for listening to people, like kind of keywords like medical, healing, anything like that, kind of like that could someone that can kind of like point me in the right direction, so to speak.
Okay, so you're gonna walk around with the depressed child fighter until someone says medical and healing?
Not necessarily like that, but kind of like pick up on the different conversation. Yeah, kind of like listen to the people that are talking as I'm. Yeah.
Okay, well, going forward, as you guys continue to walk through the town, no matter what it is that you say and or ask, people tend to have this bizarre amount of respect for Cort. It's largely due to the fact that he has some history. There was an event that went down, and as you guys kind of walk away, you'll overhear them talking. It's like, yeah, he was alive. He was the one with the sword when that happened, and I don't know how he lived through it. The kid's seen so much, and others will be like, that's one tough kid. But then they'll just sort of like let him go. But as you walk on, you will hear something. You will hear something that will sort of be out of the norm for you. You're not really sure what to make of it. Let me see if I can find that real fast. Where have I lost it here? Oh, there it is. I will can your music as you're walking along with your friend here, your ally, your newfound ally at that. You will hear something.